You got the last part. Now the real joke starts.
He's like, "Ah!"
That's so funny.
You are listening to the LA Artist Aftershow, where we chat with the artist about anything and everything, most of which we probably forgot to mention during the podcast. So all of this is bonus content just for you.
Now the fun starts. Yeah, I'm on. I didn't bring this up, but I'm on another project too. Remember I told you I went to Ojai when I first got here for a short. I don't know if
I think because
somebody posted
you were
something
gonna
about
be in LA, and then I was like, oh,
it was actually around the same time. Yeah.
That.
It was actually around the same time of the gallery. But anyways, so that director, writer, her name is Glenise, super talented, super great. She's also an actress, so she's gonna act. She got into a grant with Netflix and LAArtist. So yeah, so they're that's a project that I'm part of. I'm very excited about. I'm co-producing. I'm not like the main producer, which is fine. She brought on a producer that's like experienced and has gone through this process with like Netflix and a Hulu or whatever. So I'm very, very excited for it because I'm learning a lot. Even just that, like even just in the notes that Glenise gets from Netflix, I'm like, oh shit, like
that's really cool.
For. That's what they're that's what they're looking for. That's what they want. That's
yeah.
So that's been cool. That's been really cool to experience.
That is pretty fun. And again, to our listeners, again, thank you for sticking and being here on the after show, where we can just chat about things that we technically forgot to mention on the first podcast. Literally, that's
literally what this is.
That's the tagline for the after show. Is like whatever we forgot to mention, like that's where we'll talk about here. And in this case, because it's still only 2 p.m. when we're recording this, we do have drink.
Yeah, it's brunch somewhere.
Yeah, so Andy
this one's mine.
got some tequila.
I got some Bullet Rye.
He's got some Bullet Rye, and I'm going for some Aviation Gin. I'll use the Aviation Gin glass. You can use the
I like this glass.
The Crown Royal. Yes, and again, for all the videos, this is what we're drinking because again, we're artists and we get to drink whenever we want. Ish, almost most of the time.
Depending.
I gotta work after this.
And
I need fuel.
And to our audio listeners, hopefully this the pouring of the drinks is a little ASMR for you guys.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, it is one of those cool things where like again, it's awesome that you're a part of that film.
Yeah, and that was Gary's on it too. So Gary DP'd the other short we did with her, and he brought me on that as well to help her produce that short. Yeah. And then this time around, she got into this thing, and she wanted to keep the same team. So Gary's DPing. Gary definitely, he pushed for like to me to be on it as well. Yeah. She wanted me on it, so
yeah. And
cool.
Gary's another great cinematographer.
Yeah, great cinematographer.
Dude, he's got arms for days. Dude, he can pick up any camera and like if it was a toy. Yeah.
And the thing, shout out to Gary, love Gary. That's one of my best friends. But like he does a lot of studying, man. Like he really, is very, very, very serious about the craft of cinematography and being, light, shadow, camera.
Nice.
I didn't talk about this film either. But Mike Mentor, going back to Mike. So we have a short film right now with Warren Sapp that's going to the film festival. Another film that again, Gary shot, I'm helping produce. So like, it's again, you build those relationships where you're like, hey, if I get on something, I could bring Gary on. Cool. If Gary gets on something, he could, hey, we need producing help. I have a guy that could help us come.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's been, and it's been great. And that's going back to like the circle and the people that you want to build around that are talking about you in the right rooms, talking about you with other people in the right way where they want you to grow.
And they want to grow with you.
Exactly.
And it's like if it makes a project easier with people that you've worked with before, it'll make the project workflow actually flow.
And there's a second hand, right? Like you're just like, hey, I know what this person would need or doesn't need, or how they work better, how they don't work better. Then you figure all that out. So I feel like this year for sure, I'm big on like, I just want to work on whatever. Even with the podcast, like, talking about my friend's podcast too. Like, hey, I want to build that as a show. Let's figure it the same way you guys are building this as a show, get sponsors, have a certain system with it. Cool. Like that's that's part of the world now too, to have these things.
Yeah, because even on that, like when I saw that you were part of that show, and like I didn't know, it looks clean.
Yeah.
It's very. It's a really cool show. We'll probably link it in the description.
Yeah. Grandma Naked Studios, which
Grandma
is funny
Naked
because I'm like,
Studios.
grandmas and me, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. And because like yeah, and like the background is really nice.
And he
like,
painted that background. He did that himself. Yeah. He painted it himself.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And then with mics, it sounds good. It's recorded good. And then you blew my mind where it's like he shoots the videos with his phone.
iPhones, yeah.
And it's like, dude, like that is how you can tell that an artist wants to grow. It's like, I don't have money for a big huge camera to make it look nice. Like, dude, I have my phone. It's recording. Let's just do it. Let's just do it and 100%. Get it on.
Yeah. And that's how he's just picked it up. And now it's more of like, trying to, shape it to be a brand.
And then grow a little bit more. But yeah, the just starting of let's just do it. Yeah, that is really cool. But like I said, if you guys ever need any help or tips or anything like that, let me know. And because again, that's one of the things that I want Lorano Gallery to be. I want it to be a community-based, an artist-based well of growth, and like having you be a part of it. And anytime like somebody asks me like, oh, they're also in production, like, oh, dude, if you ever need anything, like Ricky can be the guy. Or it's like, there's certain things that some artists their techniques use, and somebody else is having hard trouble with a specific technique, and like, well, you can learn from them because they do that, and then connect them together. It's like never hold the information like, oh yeah, he's my friend.
No,
so to talk to him, you gotta talk to me. Just share.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, anyone that like tries to hold like, it's like, come on, dude. Like everyone will learn from this information, and you probably will learn something too, because you might learn about something that you didn't know because you tell somebody. Right? You may have been doing it wrong the whole time.
Because that is definitely true. Like you've been doing it wrong for the whole time, and like just by doing this little change, would have made your workflow 10 times easier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, dude, you've been doing it wrong for a whole time. That is amazing. That is amazing.
It's still coming out so good.
It's like sometimes people hold back teaching their techniques to others because of how hard they had to struggle to come to air quotes, come up with that like technique. Style, so that's why they're like, oh, it's a unique technique, so I don't want to teach it to somebody else. But if you show somebody else like your unique techniques, like, all right, oh, that's really interesting. But like, thank you for showing me that. But have you thought about like just instead of doing this on what you taught me? It's like, oh, that would have made my work way easier. So you never know what you're gonna learn from sharing.
And like even on that, it could go the other way where it's like, oh, that's cool. That kind of looks like so and so. It's like an old master, like Van Gogh, Monet, or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, I've never looked at their art. Let me look at their art.
Is this what they've been doing?
That's what I'm doing. I just never knew who did it. Because again, knowledge. We've been on this earth for X amount of years, and like knowledge is everywhere. It's like nothing is truly unique.
No.
Where it's like, oh, this is brand spanking new. I created it out of thin air. Like, no, like there's references to everything.
That goes back to that book that I talked about. Like Still Like an Artist. That's literally that. It's like no work is unique or original.
The only thing that is unique is each person.
That's it.
But the ideas have been passed down.
100%.
The fundamentals.
Like even like
the fundamentals.
The paintings you have here of this girl, what's her name? The girl
Amy Hua.
Yeah, she has great work. But you know what it reminds me of? Like the big guys paintings, right? Like that, right? But it's not that she maybe took it from that. No, but she may have been inspired by that. You know what I'm saying?
It just resembles anything resembles everything.
Exactly. That's the like that was the hardest lesson to really like take in and be like, hey, you know what? I can't be hard on myself of like not coming up with something. It's like, no. you have to find something to be inspired by, and then you add, whatever
you
little
try
thing.
to add your own flavor to it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
as much as you can do.
And like that's definitely one of the biggest examples that you can see is like in cooking. Like whether it be Italian style or French style or Mexican style, whatever. Like the ingredients, they're all similar. They might have the base of using onions, garlics, and celery and carrots. To start off the flavor palette, and then you build on it. But like every person will add its own little twist to it, where it's like, oh, I like adding a little bit of salt. Or like I prefer adding a little bit of sea salt over kosher salt, or like, oh, I prefer oregano over cilantro or whatever. And it's like, yes, the cookbook says this, the fundamentals. But every person will give it its own flavor. And you could give like 10 people the exact same ingredients, tell them to do the exact same dish. But they'll do it slightly different because each person is different.
And it'll taste slightly different every time.
That reminds me of what's this, like all those cooking shows, right? Everyone's given like the same ingredients and they all have to make the same thing. Someone looks dilapidated, the other person looks really good. Like
you add your own little touch to it. It's the same thing, but it's not the same thing.
And I feel like that's where with knowledge, with learning, with fundamentals, like don't be afraid to make music on a podcast.
Don't be afraid to make music.
Like just don't be afraid to steal from another art. Be inspired by another art, because at the end of the day, like obviously don't copy paste, but it's like you'll grab their techniques and then you'll make it your own because you'll do it slightly different.
Just slightly different.
It's like you're not them. You're not as good as them. You're not, but
and that's
you can
okay.
Be better. Or do your own thing.
That's okay. Hell yeah. I was speaking of copy and paste. How do you guys feel about the whole AI stuff?
Ooh. So we did talk with another artist about AI as part of the second after show.
That's behind the $50 paywall for Patreons. If you want to listen to that, that's $50.
Which, but again, it is one of those things where like I do want to have a group podcast and talk about AI specifically throughout the entire podcast.
Cool,
But that is a good question. Like me personally, may seem controversial, but because I see a bigger picture, like I feel like AI is useful as a tool because we see it on different areas that most people aren't seeing it. Right now with the AI of like creating an image from just common words. A lot of people are fired about. But AI itself, like I use it in Photoshop to be able to delete something and replace it with another image or whatever, or fill in content. And all that is AI. Like, but I'm using it the way I want it to use. But it's still AI. But I'm using AI.
You're still using
I'm for AI. It's like it makes my photoshopping editing easier. But as far as how some people are using it and saying that it's their original artwork when technically it's just not. Templates on templates on templates, then that's where like you have to use tools correctly.
You can't just be like blue sky elephants, like and then like, I'm an artist,
and then say that like I'm an artist and this is my original art. Like dude, it's a macro. It's a macro.
Well, even like the thing, the AI art, like I said, I think utilizing AI for certain things is good. To maybe inspire an idea, right? Like same thing, right? Maybe put in a couple of words and it gives you an image. Cool. What can I grab from this image to make it my
work from there?
Use that as a reference.
Use it as a reference. So the whole like chat GPT thing, like the AI like search thing, I've used it a little bit, and I'm like, honestly, I would never use it. Like one of my friends was like, "Oh, you could use it to write a screenplay." I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, because he was like, "Look at this scene it wrote." I'm like, I don't care for that. Like, maybe I could use it as a reference of like, what would somebody do in this situation, right? To help me think things through. Like, I've already used it just as like research of like, hey, who's like the biggest like Dominican architect? And it gave me a whole thing. Like, there's no real one person that's like considered, but here's a list of people that have made X, Y, and Z, accomplishments or whatever. And I'm like, cool, great. I could work from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, AI and for research purposes is scary, and a good scary, where it's like, I feel like it can become just a way more advanced like Google search.
Yeah, did you just Wikipedia that?
Well, I'm saying, but that's Google search, right? But that's a Google search thing.
That's what I was thinking, because like again, like even using Google search,
that's AI. That's AI.
Hey Siri.
Yeah, that's AI.
That's all AI.
Are you AI?
No.
Like, no, I am a real human being. But yeah, it goes to that point where it's like it's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
But you can't say, oh, I made up this brand new tool. It's my original thing. Like, no, it's a tool. It's like everyone can use a tool. And use it as a reference. Use it to build upon something that you couldn't imagine correctly, or you were having trouble with, or you know.
Yeah, but some artists are seeing it as like the common people, instead of looking for artists to do art for them. Now they're just gonna go to AI
and like print it, and that's it. And it's done.
And then they can hang bad art. Instead of commissioning bad art.
And again, that goes back to they're using the tool the wrong way. You know, they're not using. They're either they don't know how to use the tool correctly, or they're lazy, or they don't want to inconvenience someone or whatever, and they're just not using the tool correctly.
Well, some people are like not art collectors, because art collectors see the value of art and the value of artists, but the non-art collectors, they see the convenience of AI. It's like, well, instead of commissioning this artist and paying them like hundreds of dollars for them to paint me something that is going to take like weeks or hundreds of hours, I could just, get this app and say what I want and print it out, and it's less money for me to spend.
Nah, it's scary, man. It is very scary.
So, because like the another example that comes to mind would be like Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever, where it's like it's easier to like just order it, have it be delivered, but you can't say, I cooked this meal in this house.
That's funny.
You know? Because
I made this teriyaki chicken.
Yeah, like I made it. Like, no, it's like you used someone else.
Yeah.
You used a reference. You used X amount. Like, give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, but then again, I don't think AI is gonna replace art at all. It's like how Uber and Lyft didn't replace taxis.
Yeah.
Taxis are still going
or
around.
metro buses.
Public transportation.
Transportation.
I mean, taxis, got mad because they're getting less, but they're still being used.
But but then that's the thing. Whereas like again, people that run taxis weren't innovative enough to like think of this, right? Because now there's like yellow apps or whatever, like yellow cab apps. And it's like, you're late, kind of, but like I'm sure it's still worth millions of dollars, but like you're kind of late.
Yeah, because in order to get a taxi, either you wave them off or you call. They didn't know about like now you could do it by your phone. If they would have known that before Uber, taxis would have been the Uber.
Exactly. No, that's it. We're totally different thing, But that's going back to like, right, like, is AI gonna disrupt art? I don't think so. No. I think you can even say like, right, NFTs were supposed to disrupt art in a way, but like that really, right? Like, I had a friend that was very big on it, and he was always like pushing for it. He was like, yo, but in your digital house, you'll have your digital art, and it's like, cool, but also why?
It's like, what if there's a power outage?
Cool, but also why?
It's like if you want to show off the art, you have to pull up your phone.
Right, you have to pull up your phone, or you have to have somebody look at a screen, or you have to like, what if they don't have those two? Or like, everyone has a phone, but what if they don't have that website or that thing to like sign in to see it? And then going back to what you said, what if there's an outage somewhere? Like, all these things aren't real. So if whatever that thing is being powered by goes off,
but then on the other hand, if you have physical art, What if you don't have space on your wall, or what if there's a tornado or an earthquake or fire?
For sure, and that's the argument, right? Like, physical can get damaged, all this other stuff. For sure.
There's 100%. Always extremes.
Yeah, there is always extreme, but yeah, I still feel like, again, goes back to it's a tool.
Yeah,
it's how you use the tool. That matters. So,
and I think using AI as a tool can be beneficial.
No, 100%.
Especially if you can't think of something, or if you don't have inspiration, you're like, all right, let me just
and Google search isn't giving you the right results.
Like that's literally what I've done. I've literally done that, where I was like, oh, you know what, let me like be more specific. Instead of getting 20 links, let me just say, hey, what is the answer to this? Boom. And Google in a way kind of does that now, right? Where you put in a question and like it'll give you like a little blurb, but it's a blurb from a website and then a bunch of other websites where you can get different answers,
and that's where Ask Jeeves should come back.
Right. Like I think like Chat GP, whatever, BTGT, whatever it's called, like that is literally like Ask Jeeves. That's literally Ask Jeeves reinvented for 2023. Like that's crazy if you really think like that's literally that, because Ask Jeeves, well then Google was Ask Jeeves, right? Everyone was like, hey, this is like Ask Jeeves. Google's the new but now this, well, I don't know if you guys know, but I don't know if you guys saw, but Microsoft is supposed to be buying out Chat GPT, whatever, for like billions of dollars. So this is like Microsoft's attempt now to, remember they had Bing for a while?
Yeah.
So now they're trying to like, again, be more competitive with Google with this AI search, which again, like you said, Google is AI, right?
Yeah. Like the whole internet essentially is AI.
Yeah.
But again, it's all how you use it.
Artificial internet.
It's all artificial internet.
Artificial internet.
I love that. Artificial internet.
Artificial.
That's so funny and so true. It's weird. Artificial internet.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nice glass, bro.
Yeah, it's a really cool glass.
Yeah. For the audio listeners, he's got a Crown Royal glass that has a thick bottom. That has
it's
what do you call it?
Laser engraved little crown.
Yeah,
on
little
like inside.
on
a pillow inside of the glass.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I saw like the laser like engraved into the glass was in Hollywood, like in front of the Chinese theater.
Oh yeah, like the little booths.
Yeah, they have like little stands where they sell the glass, and they had like I bought a necklace. I bought a necklace. And it had like a little dragon inside. It was so cool.
Yeah, in Jersey, those are all at the mall. So like you get it with your photo.
You take a photo of yourself.
They get like engraved into the glass.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the AI and stuff like that, I do want to do a full episode with a group of artists. To be able to talk about that.
Yeah, because that's really what it is. Right now, it's disrupting art, in all capacities. Like I said, I know people that have looked up how to write screenplays from it. Like, and literally writes out a whole scene. You say a girl and a guy fall in love, and like literally it'll give out a whole thing.
Like you can easily just go to the Hallmark.
No,
I know I've seen artists that are kind of like upset that AI their learning algorithm was using their art
to
learn
to learn
and without the companies asking or saying like, hey, we're gonna be using your art, and then the AI that they were producing, it was just like, is like if you wanted your portrait painted by AI, it would just be a clear copy of the artist's one of their artists' drawings. It just slightly altered to make it look like this new person, and then you could see like their their artist signature skewed because they just took it directly from that artist, and they just skewed it to make it look like the person.
Well, I mean, then that's the argument too, right? Like as an artist, like, do I still put my art online now, right? Because it's going to be pulled like this. Should I keep it offline? And it's like you only see it.
And even that argument goes back into the terms of service. It's like you said, okay, Instagram, you can, without necessarily reading everything there and stuff like that. Where which again, the company, they want to make money. So they'll put on the terms of it like, oh yeah, if you upload anything, like, we can also use it and sell it and do whatever. Again, which also goes even onto cookies, where just you going into a website will allow the website to be like, oh yeah, you looked at us, like we have a bunch of clients that we can sell the information that you liked our product, so they'll send you like ads and stuff like that. And then again, everything is all AI. But again, it goes back to how you use it.
But you bring up a good point though. Everything that we have is AI. Everything that we search is AI. Everything.
Because and it goes back to like even in the like early starts of the iPhones and stuff like that, and even Palm Pilots in the 90s. Oh, that's where it was like there was a computer.
Oh my God, I remember.
And then there was a mobile computer.
Yeah.
And then there was a cell phone. Cell phone were only speaking. Only talking. And then the Palm Pilot was a smaller version of a computer. And then they figured out how to put a Palm Pilot and a cell phone together to make a speaking computer. And then it just became an iPhone and now Android and Samsung, and
now it's a computer that you could.
There's and there was always that argument where it's like, oh, is a phone a computer, or is a computer a phone? And like technically a phone is a computer.
Yeah, there's a video. I'm sure maybe you guys seen it where it's like it shows kind of like 80s, 90s, like all the equipment, the printer, all this stuff, and then like it like speeds up all the way to 2000 whatever, and it's like phone. It's like
all that into one phone.
Which is crazy when you think about it, right? Like calendar, social life kind of thing, right?
Web chatting, text
messaging, just everything.
FaceTime,
everything.
Because
the big thing with FaceTime before was Skype. Remember, Skype was huge. Like Skype was like a big, and I'm sure I think it's still hot, right? Skype is still a thing.
Yes, Skype is still, especially on the business side and the
international.
I'm about to say international, probably. But it's lost. It's lost a lot of like traction because of like Zoom and shit like that.
But at the same time, if you're a business, if you're corporate, like they'll go for Skype because there's more leeway. There's like you can do conference calls with thousands of people,
and there's no like timeout or whatever thing.
There's no timeout. There's no limit. They'll give you more things that you can use versus like now Zoom and some of the other platforms where they're trying to make money. They're small, so they need money. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. You can only do 45 minutes at a time, because we don't have enough computers and servers to be able to do more than that, unless you pay us.
Unless you pay us,
That's why Skype is like, it's okay if you forget about us. Like we're
corporate now.
Like our clients,
we're
like
global.
It's like we're like, you see all those skyscrapers, like all those businesses
use
have Skype. They don't use Zoom.
Keep your little Zoom.
Like Zoom is for like the common people who,
that's funny.
and like things like that where it's it's like once you get to a certain point, if somebody forgets your name, like they don't care, because like it goes back to like Zoom now is a big thing. Why is Zoom a big thing? Because of Skype.
Yeah, exactly.
Like instant messaging is a big thing now. Why is it a thing? Because AOL.
Because when AOL started,
like little things like that where it's like, oh, this is the new thing. Like technically, it's
technically,
and you see it like even on icons for if you have your computer up and it's like the save button. It's a floppy disk.
Yeah, it's still floppy.
And people don't know what it is. They just, it's the save button. Like, but why?
Why is it
because
that?
Because it's a floppy disk. Like the computer is a little monitor.
I didn't think about that. It's still a floppy disk.
It's still a floppy disk.
If you use Word, like that, it's still a floppy disk.
And like again, the files. It's a piece of paper with a bent corner.
Yeah. Even though you're not using a
piece of paper, but they have those references, and that's what gives you the legacy.
That's so funny.
Because the legacy won't die. The new startups will come up, fire up, and then burn down in seconds. But if you don't have a legacy, it's like we're. They're still jogging the marathon.
Yeah.
People will come in halfway through the marathon and just like sprint. And then like they get tired. But the other people, they've been just jogging steadily throughout the whole entire marathon.
That's so funny. Yeah.
So
That's so true. Like totally, I'm like, wow, I was just using Word the other day, and yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's a floppy disk.
It's a floppy disk. Yeah,
the safe.
And so and if you know what a floppy disk is, like put it in the description, like comment that you remember floppy disk.
Speaking of
spam floppy, spam of the floppy disk image on chat.
On chat, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that another thing that like speaking of like old things coming back, like you know what I bought myself for Christmas? I was like, you know what? I bought myself a little Game Boy. Like a little Game Boy SP, like the one that flips.
Yeah.
Those are so
awesome.
What color?
It's like a green. It's like a teal. Like a
teal
color.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause he likes green and purple. So.
Yes.
Honestly, I didn't even plan for that. It just happened that way.
Green and purple makes teal.
Yeah.
It kind of just happened that way.
Yeah.
But I bring that up because I'm playing it right, and like I'm playing like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, and I'm like, it's just control pad and A and B. Yeah, that is it.
Oh, it does have.
And then
it got
triggers,
bumpers. It got left and right.
Yeah.
It does have bumpers.
It does have bumpers. So I'm like, damn, it was just this. Like now, I play Xbox too, and it's like,
Yeah,
B, C, Y, like so triggers.
You gotta do the claw grab on the thing.
But I like the idea of getting a Game Boy or something like that, where I was like, you know what? Even though I know we have our phones, but like I don't want to play games on my phone. Like I'd rather not get interrupted. Like if I'm playing a game on my phone, I don't want to get interrupted. Yeah. Right. And not that I'm playing games like that all the time, like on the go, but it's nice to have something to break it up and just it's different and it's not like 3D. And it's just like point A to point B. Fucking jump over the infected plant, kill the bats and keep moving,
Just keep going.
And again, it goes, simplicity.
And like so many games now have, come based off of games from back then and stuff like that. But I have found it very interesting because, there's a whole like new surgence in like old gaming systems. Like, I don't know if you guys ever been to a store called LA Retro Gaming. That's where I got my Game Boy. But they have one in Melrose, and then one in Sherman Oaks. And dude, it's just cases of just like N64.
Nice.
We should go.
Dreamcast. Like you guys would love it. Like there's so much, and it's like, oh shit. Like if I really wanted to just reinvest into like an N64 and just have it of like, hey. Just switch it up. Enough Xbox. Let me just play N64.
Yeah. There's a local game store here in Gardena. It's called Game Zone.
Okay.
And they also have
Same
like
thing,
newer stuff, and they also have like in a display case some like
older
some
stuff.
Some Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games, some like N64. They have like I think they have like Super Nintendo and NES as well. So.
Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, there's a Netflix show.
But it's a smaller store. It's
not
it's not like the other
this
one.
It's
just like dedicated to retro.
Dedicated to retro. Yeah. This one doesn't have like anything new or whatever, but like it has old Xbox games, which is cool.
Dedicated to retro.
I was gonna say there's a Netflix show about games and like the games that changed us or whatever. And it talks. I forgot the exact title of it. Let me look it up. But basically, it talks about like Nintendo, how it started.
Yeah, the games that made us.
The games that made us.
Okay, is it that?
Kind of like the movies that made us. And
because they have
toys that made us.
They have a couple different series like that where they talk about the start of. X, Y, and Z, whether it be like the start of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Sega was like US's response to Nintendo.
No, the show's called High Score. That's the name.
High Score.
It's a Netflix docuseries called High Score.
High Score.
Is that about Tetris?
It's about all the games.
Okay.
It's like starts off with like early like Nintendo, before it was Nintendo, like the original one that they put out in Japan, and then they basically got like their American like like department or counterpart. They're the ones that brought Nintendo that we know, because they were like, oh, it's great whatever you have in Japan, but we have to switch it up for like the American
for the American audience and stuff.
But that show is awesome. Check it out if you guys can. But it talks about it's called High Score.
We'll put it on the description.
But it talks about very beginning of video games and like how it's grown. Like they talk about like the first Madden. They talk about how like Sega Genesis was trying to like beat Nintendo and all this other stuff. So it's really cool to just see like again, because for as much shit as people will be like, oh, that's for kids. But do you know that an adult made that? Like, shut up. Like that's why I feel like telling people that like, oh, video games are for kids. I'm like, but an adult made it. Like I get it that it's like but like an adult made it because he obviously is entertained by it or inspired by it or just wants to be a creative, right? Like. that's a creative endeavor. To make a video game is a very creative endeavor.
Yeah, it takes a lot of moving parts. You have to write the story. You have to draw the characters. You have to animate them. You have to program what they do in the storyline.
Yeah.
If they go one path or the other.
Yeah.
And then off of that path, if they go another path or the other, and then off of that path, another path, and so it's just a
and then there are some games that are made for kids that are like a little easier or whatever. But there's some games that make you think.
Yeah, they really challenge
parents
you.
are like, oh, stop wasting your time on that because it's not gonna help you grow or whatever. There are games that make you think that it's not just linear. It's always something new.
Yeah.
So because there, when game is too linear, you just,
you finish it.
You finish it quick.
You finish it quick. It's just muscle memory or whatever because it never changes. But there are some games that like change all the time, and you have to think, and 100%. that helps the cognitive reflexes of like young people
100%
to make them grow and to make them understand and think on their own. So there's some games that help you think.
Well, that's why even there's people that have become millionaires by making video games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like
there's a Ninja Turtles game that is like super hard.
One of the arcade.
The arcade one.
The arcade Ninja Turtles is one of the hardest.
I love that
games to beat.
I never realized that it was that hard. Yeah,
so many quarters. I went through so many quarters.
I went through so many quarters.
I still didn't beat it because we had to leave the laundromat. Dude, we were doing laundry while we were doing it.
Dude, wait, watch when you guys see the documentary, and it talks about like. Basically, like the whole, arcade system was created by guys in college, like at Harvard or some shit, like or whatever it was, like a big elite school, and they were like, "We want to play video games," and they were basically like, they altered, I think it was like Space Alien at the time, and then they were getting sued by like Konami, whatever the company was at the time, not Konami, it was somebody else, but they were basically suing them because they're like, hey, you made the game better, but that's our original game. But it just goes to show you like, yo, people are just inspired and like they can add on, especially if they're smart enough and like they're technologically like advanced, they could do those things.
I was looking at like things about Skyrim. Skyrim is like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old game, but people are still adding mods and like making that 10-year-old game better with mods. Then I think the anniversary edition just released. And they like the people that made Skyrim implemented. They're like, oh yeah, you modders, we like that. Let us pay you the money and we'll incorporate it to our anniversary edition.
Crazy.
So now some of the mods are in the main game.
That's
which
crazy.
Is so cool.
And like I play a lot of NBA 2K. Shout out NBA 2K. Love NBA 2K. I played a lot.
Nice.
But
sponsor us, please. Sponsor Ricky.
Please, I'm actually trying to have like an actual team. We're trying to sponsor. Play professionally. But I bring that up because all this talk about like virtual reality and the metaverse and stuff like that's already happening. Like in NBA 2K, I get to buy shirts. Nice. Shorts, sneakers for my guy, right? Things to play in the game. Like there's a sense of like you're creating your your virtual,
your
person,
little avatar.
Exactly. So that's why I even think that like I'm not a big fan of the VR glasses thing because I think it's just like it's too obstructive and it's also like get dizzy. You don't know where you're looking at. You can literally walk into a wall and kill yourself if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you could still have that same experience through video games, which is happening. Like Grand Theft Auto, another thing, right? Avatar. I wanted to kill a bunch of people and do a bunch of stuff, random stuff. I could do that, right? Yeah. So I just think that video games has already like been on that metaverse wave. Yeah. That when you see like what Facebook is trying to do with the metaverse and like the graphics, it's like that looks childish. Yeah, like please, legs. Add some legs. Like what is happening here? Because I have friends that have it and like I'll see it and I'm like, okay, cool. Like 5 minutes of my time. There's no way I'm doing hours of this. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
That's crazy.
But I feel like that's a really cool topic that we can definitely explore as well.
Like video games or just virtual reality?
Video games, because again, it's all artistic. Like somebody had to create it. Somebody had to think about it. Somebody had to write the story.
There's
somebody
actors
has to draw
and, and screenwriters right now.
Even that, like somebody had to do the voices for it.
Parents, if you can't afford like to buy your kids hundreds and hundreds of Legos, just paying $60 for Minecraft.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Minecraft, yeah.
And that's another one too, and that's going back to a game that like it's like challenges you in a way, right? Because you're building, you're creating worlds,
you're creating,
and
if you don't want to create, you're exploring.
Yeah.
And all that fun stuff. And it's another one where it's like 10 years as well.
A little bit over 10 years.
They're still adding new stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
crazy.
And
what people have like created crazy worlds, right? It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, dude, there's I've seen some worlds that are crazy.
I don't know how people do it. Like, how do you have that much time? But again, super impressive.
And people are like, oh, stop wasting your time. Be more creative, dude. Minecraft is all about creative.
Yeah.
You have to be creative to be able to
Yeah, and there's a couple of channels and a couple of series that my brother and I watch. Like one of them's called Hermitcraft. And it's essentially a group of Minecraft players that every X amount of years they'll start a new world. They will all come together to a random world and then just start building and creating a little storyline within each other. But what they do is insane. And then there's other ones. What was the other one called? Empires, where like they'll essentially they start a new world. It's a group of artists, of creators. But each one they'll have a theme, and they'll have their own characters. They'll role play a character throughout the entire series. So essentially, like those two. Like one of them is more build based, the other one is more story based.
Yeah.
But again, they're all playing on the exact same platform. And it's like two completely different series and
that's so funny.
And types of content creators in them.
Yeah.
But it's like to be able to have that creativity and
on the same platform.
On the same platform.
It talked about how you can
versatile.
The platform is just a tool.
And
then you use it however you want. The game is just a tool, and then you could play it however you want. You can be your own character in your, NBA 2K, or you could, play as somebody else.
Yeah, like I have a friend that has red hair and a yellow beard.
There you go.
Doesn't have that in real life, but hey, that's his guy.
You could be that.
Because like I even remember when when I would see Andy play like FIFA.
Oh yeah, FIFA's so much fun.
Like the tournament style.
I'll manage a team. And
I love that. That's what I'm doing now too. I'm playing a guy. I'm on a team. I'm getting paid.
And then you're able to manage. And like I remember on certain times that you would tell me what you were doing, and it's like like he focuses like every time the team wins or whatever, he can allocate certain points to upgrade certain things. And then like, okay, he would allocate some of the points to just focus on defense to make sure that the defense is good. And then like, okay, cool. What's the next thing? Like, okay, for the next season or whatever, I'm focusing only on forwards or the goalie or like specific things.
And it's funny because you're also basically like you're the manager. I would try to get like the from the initial standing. I'll get one of the lower teams.
Just try to bring them all the way up. Hell yeah,
buy the best.
Hell yeah, that's like the best thing to do. It's so much fun.
Like,
hell yeah,
this low team with like Cristiano Ronaldo.
And the highest stats. And again, and it's all that. It goes back to like you have to think about it. It's not just like A, B, jump, move. It's
you have to adjust. You're managing.
Be able to account for like even effects that might come across where it's like I want to focus on this and buy this character, but then you won't have enough money, so now you might get beat by somebody else and you can't really do anything because the way that you went might have been a little bit off or whatever. Okay, cool, now I can start a brand new game and then have a completely different storyline. And then another game, and then a different storyline.
That's how Skyrim has been like so popular and so like productive.
You could do so many things
because you could be and do whatever you want. And like, okay, you could create this character. It's like, all right, cool. I did the whole thing, but I didn't use these weapons or these areas. So it's like, all right, I'll just create another character. Totally different and play the same game, but it has a different feel because now you're thinking of using this other things, and it's like It's so good.
Yeah, because it is like one of the artisticness of it and stuff like that. Because I remember there was who's the guy that you watch on YouTube that he does the gameplays of Skyrim that he got me inspired because I wanted to play Skyrim.
Oh really? Yeah.
But do a specific storyline where he is OP by using a fork as his weapon.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And like to be able to even just get a fork that you can use as a weapon, you have to do so many different campaigns and overcome little things. Like, cause
I think in the game there's only 2 forks that are
usable
as weapons. That's everything else is just a random little item.
That's so funny.
But yeah, like but he was able to figure out where to find them, how to get what character to use to be able to wield a fork.
I think it was the channel is called Fudge Muppet. I think it's them that they have like builds, and they made a build where it's like the chef.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, you know, the chef has a knife and fork
that's amazing
that are wieldable as weapons, and then you could add enchantments to it. So I think one of them had like a fire enchantment. So when you kill somebody,
they catch fire.
They catch fire,
that's
but
funny.
that like role play wise, you're cooking it.
You're cooking it because you're the chef. Yeah.
And then the other weapon had like like soul charge, so that you could, you know, and it also had like health absorb.
Yeah,
so you're basically like eating the person. There's the soul and the essence or whatever. So it's like you role play it as a cannibal, just eating anything, or you could just use it for animals and just cooking and eating animals.
That is so funny.
Like, it's funny.
I can't. That is so funny.
And again, it's like,
and then you're always wearing like a chef outfit.
That's hilarious.
And I feel like that's the best part about being creative. Is like, yes, somebody made the game, but you're able to use it in ways that the game maker may not have intended you to use it,
definitely
or didn't even think about it.
Or even think about it. I feel like with Grand Theft Auto, like there's so much to do in Grand Theft Auto, like that's crazy.
Exactly. But I think at the same time, the game developer did intend. It's like, all right, these are all the tools. I don't know how I would use them, but somebody will figure it out. And we just want to give everybody, you know, the ability to, you know, use their own imagination.
100%.
These are the tools. Go nuts.
Yeah. No, I'm saying video games now, I'm like, there's so much to like do, and like so many games where I'm like, holy shit, like this is a lot of work. A lot, like even, you know, NBA 2K 1 year, there's, because, you know, the same way, like, you know, how you manage your team or like how you have your My Career, like there was 1 year where it was like, it was produced by Spike Lee. Like it was a whole thing. It was like, you know, your My Career is like a whole story, like it's like a little short film or whatever. And it all goes by what you're doing in the game kind of thing, which is cool. Yeah. But it goes back to like, they're using screenwriters. They're using real actors for like the motion capture stuff. You know, right now I'm currently watching The Last of Us on HBO, which is based off the video game, which I didn't even know. I had no idea. Like I had no idea what the game was about. Like, so I'm watching it. It's cool. So I'm like reading all about like the comparisons to the video game. But again,
there's videos on YouTube where you just see, you know, the cinematic parts of the video game.
Yeah, compared to like the show. Yeah, I saw that. It was like, oh wow, they did a lot of like really detailed on like certain scenes.
Yeah, but there's one where it's not compared to the show. It just shows the story of the game.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I mean, you don't have to play the game to
understand
the story.
Got it.
You just like if you don't want to play the game, if you want to know what the game is about, and then it would be the cinematic story. Because I heard that, you know, the story from the game Last of Us is a really it's one of the best stories in game.
Yeah, and that's sort of like, and what's crazy. So like I'm watching it now with my girl, and we're like, damn, it just feels so much like The Walking Dead, right? It's like I mean. So it's like, you know, very similar. We've kind of seen the story already. So like, I'm still trying to find like, where is it gonna like be different in a way?
I think only the people that have like played the game or seen the gameplay.
Well, no,
they're like, man, they're gonna get to that part.
Yeah, exactly. Which me and her are just like, people that are infected and they can't die.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
there's people infected.
And it's a pandemic and all that stuff.
It's a zombie movie.
But no, it's cool to see that, right? Because like I know it's not the first game to be made into, you know, a show or a movie, right? Like we've had Resident Evil, we've had, you know, these other games that now have become to like big franchises. But again, it started as a game, which was somebody's creative idea of a story and this world.
Yeah, and then he got a team together. Yeah, because again, you know, it goes back to even what we talked about, the community. Like, who do you surround yourself with? Yeah, somebody had the idea, and maybe they weren't the best animators. Yeah, so like, okay, cool, you're an animator. Like, do you like my idea? Because I like your work.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's just work together.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, oh, cool, you do this. I like what you do. You like what I do. Let's work together.
Yeah, 100%.
Just build that.
100%.
But yeah,
no, we just went off about video games.
Well, no, that's the best part of the after show.
We're all gamers. We love video games.
And it's very artistic.
It is,
like
man.
That's one of the best parts about it. It's very artistic, and that's, again, we want to highlight the art in anything.
Have you, speaking of like video games, like furthermore, have you guys like messed around with Unreal Engine?
Ooh.
I haven't myself, but I know that's like the new.
What is that?
So Unreal Engine is like, you basically, like, it's a free platform where you could like create your world. You can even create video games from it. People are literally creating video games from Unreal Engine.
Really?
And apparently it's free. It's like fully free. You just have to have the system to like be able to make the stuff or whatever. But
you have to have the engine to make it Unreal.
Yeah. But people are using it not only for video games, but like for, I don't know if you guys have like heard or read about virtual productions. So like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Obi-Wan show on Disney and stuff like that. So like a lot of those Star Wars shows, whatever scenic thing you see.
Oh yeah, that's the backgrounds?
Yeah, it's virtual production. It's
Mandalorian was using
that. Mandalorian was big. Mandalorian was like the first big show to like really like take it on.
Oh, that's sick.
But it's not a green screen. It's just a big ass LED screen that moves with the characters. And that's all like Unreal Engine. That's all that stuff, which again goes back to video games because that's it, right? Like moving through worlds and all that stuff.
Kind of like what was it? One of the prequels of Star Wars episode 1, 2, or 3, where everything was just blocks of green boxes and all that. Like everything was that, because they were like in another world. It's like so the actors were just walking through just green boxes and green squares and all that. But now
with virtual production,
like, you can actually see
where you are
when you move, the screen moves and all that. So
it's so nuts, dude.
It's so crazy.
But a lot of studios now in LA have it. Like, you know, I'm sure the pricing is still kind of like maybe a little expensive, but it's still being done where it's like, hey, anyone could really do it if you budget it right.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. Hey, if you have a budget of, let's say, like 20 grand for a short, there's probably like 5 of that grand that could go to this. You know what I'm saying? Or 6, whatever it is. But yeah, man, it's a new world where Unreal Engine is a whole other thing, where it's like people are creating, you know, video games from scratch or like virtual worlds from scratch.
Yeah.
Going back to like the virtual world thing is like cool, but to me it just screams video game. Like I'm like, I don't need no goggles for it. Let's like metaverse is video game. Like that's literally what that is. It's video game.
Yeah.
Just sit closer to the screen. Boom.
Yeah.
Like, you want a big screen, just get it closer.
You're just immersed into.
Because that's why like even Microsoft right now is like, you know, they feel that they're ahead of the game because they're Xbox, right? They've already been doing virtual reality, right? 2K, FIFA, like all these other games, right?
Yeah.
Skyrim, like they've been doing all these games already. So they're already ahead of Facebook, quote unquote, in terms of virtual reality.
Yeah.
The only thing Facebook has is like, goggles, which again, I don't think it's going to last that long. I know people are like crazy about it, but I'm like, really though? Like you're going to put on goggles for hours to play a game?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't buy it.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a fun topic for sure, and we'll definitely explore this topic on a fuller episode.
Yeah, let me know.
Because again, we always want to, again, for the main podcast, focus on the artist journey. For the after show, focus on the artistic inspirations that made us who we are.
100%, for sure.
And stuff like that. But yeah, no, thank you for being here, dude.
No, thank you guys, man. This is
for
great.
chatting, and hopefully we didn't take too much of your time.
No, absolutely not, bro. I love, again, like I said, I love coming to the Riano compound, man. Riano compound is the place to be.
That's how you do. But again, thank you so much for being a part of the show, and
thank you for having me.
Hanging out and drinking beer and taking shots. Well, not really taking, sipping shots. And
sipping, drinking some beer, drinking some water, drinking some coffee. All the liquids.
All the liquids that you will ever need.
Staying hydrated.
All vegan.
All vegan.
Vegan liquids.
Well, you did add milk to that, but
I mean, coffee creamer is not really.
That's what I'm saying. It's not milk, right?
Milk.
That's true. That's true. It's artificial milk.
Yeah, it's AI milk.
It's AI milk.
Oh, fuck. Is it disrupting liquids now?
Yes. But again, thank you for listening. You've been listening to the after show of Los Ruano. Well, actually, I was going to say Los Ruano Podcast. It's the LAArtist Podcast.
Let me say LAArtist.
Well, yeah, it's easier. LAArtist Podcast. So LAArtist Podcast.
We came up with it when we were going to do... we were going to a show in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it was a group of artists from LA. So we were like, we should have like a banner that says LA Artist. And then we're like, LAArtist.
LAArtist.
I was like, I heard you say that. I'm like, what are you saying? And then you say LA Artist. I'm like, oh,
LA Artist.
Yeah.
We're all from LA.
The LAArtist Podcast.
Different cities. So we were thinking about like going to San Francisco, going to Phoenix, going to Dallas or whatever.
That's so funny, dude.
So thank you for listening to the LAArtist Podcast, and see you guys on the next one.
Bye. All right, later.
Yo.
Yeah.
You have been listening to the LAArtist Podcast. Feel free to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss the latest episode. You can see bonus content on our Instagram at Lorano Gallery, as well as our website, loranogallery.com/podcast. Stay creative, keep creating, and no matter what, be passionate about your art.